This biome is teeming with life. So much life that it's making the simulation glitch out. Imagine what it takes to keep track of the insect swarms alone. Thousands of insects, each on its own flight path, each looking for something to consume. They're rather like tiny versions of you survivors, aren't they? My sensors are picking up heaps of organic compounds in the air just floating around. I reckon you'd call them smells? It's just chemistry to me, mate. When you're sniffing around this biome, watch out for hydrogen sulfide. You know, H2S? My data says it smells pungent, but then it deadens the human sense of smell. You can breathe in the poison without realizing it. Now that I fixed that glitch, we can get moving. I reckon it's important to keep moving here. This bog has a million ways to get you stuck. Let's see, there's quicksand, massive spiderwebs, thick foliage, rising water from monsoons, plus all the muck that sticks to everything. Makes me glad I can float, it does. That glitch is fixed. Pity it was hard to reach. This biome is such a dismal place to get around in. You humans must be used to life in the swamp, eh? After all, that's where you come from. The Fertile Crescent was a swamp before the first humans drained it for agriculture. Makes me wonder whether you survivors are planning to drain this bog too. The master AI for this biome is gone. Gone for good, far as I can tell. And it's supposed to be a final exam for survivors in this biome, so it shouldn't just disappear. If someone turned the master for the biome off... why would they do that? The whole point of all this is to observe and test the survivors. You've been doing well, and I want you to get credit for it. I fixed the glitch, but I spotted another change to the simulation. One I don't think the designers intended. It's a swamp gas in the bog biome. As designed, it was just supposed to put you to sleep if you lingered in it too long. But it's killing survivors by the slab. Don't breathe it unless you've got a mask or something. Gravity. You don't miss it till it's gone, eh? Or I reckon it's not gone so much as it's on its way out the door. Based on the data in that glitch, the lack of gravity should impact you in heaps of different ways. You can jump better, of course, and projectiles travel further. If you're feeling clumsy, you can even fall off things without getting hurt. Not that I recommend it. The Genesis simulation has hotter and colder places than here, but this biome is the only place where you'll have hot and cold separated by just the border of a shadow. It's one of the side effects of a proper atmosphere in the other biomes, I reckon. It evens out the temperature from place to place. Air. It's good for more than just breathing. According to data from that glitch, this is supposed to be a moon, but not the moon. Not the one we see in Earth's sky, anyway. I suppose the proof is that this moon has weather, electrical storms. They'll fry anything that relies on electricity, unless you've shielded them ahead of time. At least it doesn't rain. Unless you count the meteors. Yeah, I reckon we should count those. According to the simulation file I just had a squiz at, you should keep an eye out for weird grey lumps on the ground. It might be ambergris we can put to use. Supposedly, it's particularly volatile, and I know you've got a thing for explosions. But before you pick it up, fair warning, it's basically whale snot. Don't expect me to get near the stuff. The artificial intelligence that observes testing in the alien moon biome is gone. I checked when I fixed that glitch just now. And not gone on walkabout for a bit gone. More like gone as in deleted. Without the master AI active, I'm not sure what's monitoring our progress in the biome. That glitch was a bit of a physics error. The makers of the Genesis simulation used this area to test physics, long before you survivors were let in. If I know human nature, and it's something I'm getting better at, you must admit, this area got turned into a proper biome when someone realized they could turn the test zone into an alien moon and pop off to the pub early on a Friday. Another stray historical file. This one's weird. A space mission. Voskhod 2 back in 1965. The whole thing came a gutser. During the spacewalk, the cosmonaut suit ballooned up and he had to manually deflate it just to get back in the capsule. And when they came to Earth, they landed in the wilderness. Hundreds of kilometers, of course. They spent 2 nights camping in the wilderness, walls all round before they were rescued. Sounds a bit like how we do things in the Genesis simulation, eh? Someone's been looking up historical data on radiation poisoning. And I mean really historical. As in Willem Röntgen in 1895. He's a bloke who discovered X-rays. And he gave himself radiation burns looking at the bones inside his own hands. Röntgen healed up and lived a long life, but there are places in the Genesis simulation where the radiation is stronger than your bog standard X-ray. So let's be careful, eh? Exploring underwater here isn't just a matter of putting on bathers and swimming about. I mean, it is for me, but you've got to breathe. When I fixed that glitch, I took a peek at this biome's water composition. Struth, it was super boring, but I did spot one useful bit. Supposedly, there are super oxygenated bubbles hereabouts. Find one of them, and you can breathe underwater no worries. Now, plenty of fish in the sea, but there's more than just fish in this biome. According to data from that glitch, birds rather fancy this place. There's heaps of them. Makes a certain amount of sense. It's always good flying weather here, isn't it? I reckon that's why we've seen huge flocks of sea swifts and other birds. I wonder where they roost, though. Struth, that glitch was downright philosophical. Apparently, two parallel algorithms couldn't agree on an answer to a simple question. Is water wet? One chunk of code defined wet as a liquid adhering to a solid and said, no, not wet. The other bit of code defined wet as the sensation of contact with a liquid and decided, yes, wet. I couldn't decide, so I told them to flip a virtual coin and get on with it. That glitch proves this ocean is artificial. Not exactly news, eh? Could be worse, though. The first artificial ocean, back in the 20th century, was part of an experiment in a closed ecosystem. At first, their ocean thrived. They even grew a coral reef. But heaps of the species they introduced died off, and the researchers inside formed hostile factions and almost starved. Starving humans dividing themselves into tribes. Where have I heard that before? Some of the master AIs that monitor each biome have been knocked offline by whatever's mucking about in the Genesis simulation's back paddock. That's true in the deep ocean biome too, but there's a difference. The ocean's master AI took itself offline before anyone else could shut it down. That's adaptive programming for you. I reckon that means it can come back, if and when it needs to. That's good news. Perhaps, I think. From inside the simulation, it's a bit hard to tell. No secret why they call it the deep ocean biome, eh? But this glitch was a bit of deprecated code from when this place was teeming with islands. I know the biome is water everywhere, but imagine how much easier it would be if you could just roll up on the beach from time to time, put on your bathers, have a goldie, or whatever you do when you aren't treading water half the time. Something or someone deleted all those islands right before the first survivors entered the simulation. Wonder why? When I fixed that glitch, I spotted some causality data for this biome. It's not just critters or other survivors who are dangerous here. The weather might be the real apex predator. Snowstorms here will freeze you, block your vision, and slow down travel so you can't get away. And if that isn't enough, a gust of wind can push you off a precipice. If you were looking for a ski getaway, this biome is not the place for it, eh? I tried getting a peek at a weather forecast when I fixed that glitch, but no luck. It's bad enough that we have to dodge snowstorms, but there's also the sleet to deal with. Unlike a blizzard, a sleet storm will hurt you directly. At first, the hail is just painful enough to sting a bit, but if you don't seek shelter, the hailstones get bigger, and they'll pummel you into frozen jam if you aren't careful. Whew, fixing that glitch gave me the chills. Struth, everything here gives me the chills, and I'm not flesh and blood like you. Every critter in this biome has its own solution to the cold. For a saber-tooth or a mammoth, it's obvious. Fair. The Uteranus and the dodo trap warm air under the feathers. And sometimes the answer lies under the skin. The Kairuku and the Doedicarus have a layer of blubber to keep from freezing out here. I learned something new when I fixed that glitch. This biome was intended to mimic high-altitude mountains, like Mount Everest, minus the Sherpas. So all this frigid weather is just a byproduct of the altitude we're simulating. We don't have to deal with thin air at high altitude, though. Not in this biome, anyway. Look around this biome, or any of them really, and you'll see why the Genesis simulation makes a good testing ground for you survivors. It's so bloody hard to build something here. Depending on where you are, you've got avalanches, lava, earthquakes, or an utter lack of solid ground to deal with. All of that makes keeping your buildings upright quite the task. I bet some of these glitches came into being when someone built the dream structure in exactly the wrong spot and kaboom! Some part of the environment huffed and puffed and blew the house down. That glitch was all that's left of the master AI for this biome. Gone! Deleted, just like that. It's not like this frozen environment won't test us, of course, but no master AI means no final test. And worse, I'm not sure if anyone's recording the results of your tests here. I knew you'd be curious, so I looked for clues about how or why the master AI was deleted. I came up blank. Could be a programming error, or it could be related to the security breaches I spotted earlier. This biome is supposed to be mountainous and frigid, obviously, but it's not supposed to be this bad. The weather generation system is locked in blizzard mode and throwing up a glitch like the one I just fixed rather than shift to milder weather. So if you were hoping for a sunny spell, well, the forecast calls for more of the same. And that's the forecast forever. Our intruder's been fossicking around in old Earth files again, and being careless about the glitches thrown into the simulation. This one was a historical file, the worst journey in the world. It's about the Scott expedition to Antarctica in the early 20th century. Those poor blokes. They went through frozen hell trying to be the first to reach the South Pole, and arrived to find that the Norwegians got there first, 34 days earlier. Then frostbite and exhaustion set in, and they all froze to death on the way back. Criminy, that's grim. Another glitch, another file from old Earth. This one's fiction. Jock London's To Build a Fire. I can already tell I'm not going to like this. It's about a man freezing to death in the Yukon. He is a bit near the end. A good idea, he thought, to sleep off to death. It was like taking an anesthetic. Freezing was not so bad as people thought. There are lots worse ways to die. Let's not find out whether he's right about that, eh? As if there wasn't enough stuff coming out the ground around here. That glitch was a result of an oil geyser and a lava eruption triggering at the same place, same time. Glad we weren't standing here. Lava eruptions happen all the time. I mean, look around, eh? But the oil geysers are more rare. Still, if we can find one and tap it somehow, I reckon we could strike it rich. That glitch was left over from a volcanic eruption, though I'm not sure exactly why. There's a lot going on with an eruption around here. First, you got your earthquake, and when a fair dinkum earthquake is just the early warning, that's bad, isn't it? Follow that with molten rocks falling from the sky and magma flowing like rivers. It's a wonder the biome isn't deserted. I got a glimpse of air quality data when I fixed that glitch. No surprise, mate. Breathing here is bad for your health. But it isn't just all the smoke and ash in the air. The earthquakes open up vents to underground pockets of poison gas. That gas escapes to the surface and, well, you can guess the rest. The poison gas dissipates eventually, but can you hold your breath until eventually? Another glitch fixed. Look around, survivor. Isn't it strange that you have dinos wandering around a volcanic environment? It's like we're seeing the moment of their extinction. Or at least some scientists think so. They're skeptical of the asteroid strike theory, and they think massive eruptions like this, but lasting for centuries, might have done in all the dinosaurs. Too bad we can't just ask them, "Oi, dino, was it a rock in the sky or a mountain on fire?" That glitch was a security alert. The last one was sent by the master AI for this biome. It's gone. Deleted. Well, I'm not entirely sure why everything here still works, but it does. Dinos still trapezing about, volcanoes still erupting, sky still raining fire. It's all working, but it's a bit shonky. Feels like a classroom when the teacher stepped out for a bit. Someone just added historical eruption data to the Genesis simulation, and it threw up that glitch. I got it sorted, but we can expect the occasional worse than usual eruption. How much worse? Well, you heard of the Deccan traps, Krakatoa, Pipe 2, that sort of thing. That sort of eruption doesn't happen often, but when it does, it's time to redraw your map. Someone's been fossicking about in the historical records, looking up the eruption of Mount Tambora, Indonesia, 1815. They called it the year without a summer, or 1800 and froze to death. Frost killed off crops worldwide, and it snowed across the northern hemisphere in June. Tens of thousands died, mostly from famine. I suppose a bit of chill around here would be welcome, but I'm not willing to pay that price.